Hey guys, so this is a brand new video series, if you will, that I'm kind of trying out. You guys will have to let me know what you think. But it's kind of based on a little bit of feedback I've been getting. As you guys know, if you watch my channel, I do a lot of really fast-paced, kind of quick, educational, but what do you call that? Infotainment kind of content. And so this is just a little bit more of a chill, relaxed version of the Crypto Minute. So if you guys have seen those, it's basically where I talk about all the news that happened over the last week in a minute or less. And there's usually a lot of costume changes and just crazy one-liners and things happening. And so what I think I might start doing, and again, this is the first week I'm doing it, is just doing a more kind of laid back walkthrough of a lot of the major news stories that happened and the things that I covered in the Crypto Minute, and just kind of share my thoughts on a little bit, maybe a few more details that you can't get in the little 2 or 3 second clip each news article gets in the Crypto Minute. So anyway, we're going to walk through a lot of interesting things. By the way, congratulations, you survived a huge market correction. I know we're all dying, but we're here. So before we jump in, I just want to say a really quick thank you to my sponsor, Cake Wallet. If you guys have been watching the channel, you know that I am a big fan of privacy coins, and I think that that's going to be an area of the industry that we see a lot of adoption, especially as we start to see more and more regulatory imposement, if you will, on cryptocurrencies, and especially ones that have more open ledger technology like Bitcoin. And so I think that there's definitely going to be a strong move towards privacy coins in the next few years. And so Monero is the one that I generally prefer and use. And so Cake Wallet is the Monero wallet that I use, and you guys have probably seen them around here on the channel. They're my longest running sponsors, so I will leave the links below. I just want to say thank you, Cake, for supporting the channel, for supporting this, and all of my Monero friends listening, definitely check them out if you haven't already, and like I said, there will be a link below. Okay, are you guys ready? Are you ready? We are starting with none other than the whole Tether thing. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so cryptocurrency firm Tether and Bitfinex agree to pay $18.5 million fine to end the New York probe. So yeah, this has been really interesting to watch the last few years. So basically, for those who don't know what all was the history with this, is basically the New York Attorney General's office accused Tether of not having enough USD to back up their pegged stablecoin. So supposedly USDT has exactly $1 pegged for every USDT out there, which is what gives it its stable price. And the New York Attorney General's, why can't I say that? New York Attorney General's office basically said that they didn't think that Bitfinex or Tether had those reserves. So Bitfinex is, or Tether is owned by Bitfinex, if that connection isn't clear. And so anyway, what's happened is they've decided to just settle for $18.5 million. They're not admitting fault in the sense that they're not agreeing or saying that they did it, but they just want the legal battle to be over. So as you can imagine, this has generated some interesting tweets out there on the cryptoverse. So I want to show you just a couple of my favorite. I thought this was a really interesting tweet from Pomp. He said, Tether was accused of creating digital dollars backed by nothing to prop up Bitcoin's price, while we watched the Federal Reserve create $4 trillion backed by nothing to prop up asset prices. The irony is unfathomable. So I thought that was really interesting. Also, documenting Bitcoin, which, by the way, I'm sure I will reference their tweets often here in these little news videos, because this is a great account. If you aren't following them yet, you should definitely check them out. But he said, Tether has now been audited more times than the Federal Reserve. And I feel like that's a meme waiting to happen, but it's kind of sad but true. And then in a kind of interesting turn of events, the Tether price is doing very well, at least to the time of this recording. And so I don't know if it's all of the media coverage that they've been getting about the settlement, or if it's maybe even just now that this isn't hanging over the heads of investors, because there's a lot of question marks when people aren't sure what's going to happen legally. Is Tether something they want to use then? They don't know. And so I think that now having a clear course of action has probably been, is probably just a really positive move for the entire Tether community. Oh, you guys, that was a close call. My laptop actually almost just died. I did not realize it was running on fumes. Okay. we're back. Time to move on to the next news story. Okay, and then next we have the girl that explained Bitcoin to us when it was only $20. See, I already told you you guys would see the Documenting Bitcoin account up again, but I thought this was a really interesting video and kind of shocking that it seems like no one really knows who she is. Like, I was reading through the comments trying to figure out, like, what happened to this girl? Like, did she hang on to her Bitcoin? Like, is she just on a private island now? Or I don't even know. But it was interesting because some people seem to leave comments saying that she sold everything a few years ago, so they seem to know who she was. But I never saw anyone really mention any names or anything. So anyway, out of curiosity, if anyone happens to know who she is, I actually think it'd be really fun to bring her on the channel and maybe interview her and just like hear more of her story and even hear how she was making this video back then. Because if you guys haven't watched it, it's actually a great little explainer video, and so I'll link to it below in case you haven't seen it so that you can check it out. ARK Invest forecasts a $6 trillion Bitcoin market cap by 2025. So that might sound like a crazy big number. Yes, there are a lot of zeros involved in 6 trillion. But what's really interesting to kind of think about when you look at a longer term perspective is the fact that we recently kind of kissed 1 trillion and then now we've come back down a bit with this latest correction. But let's say Bitcoin is around a 1 trillion market cap now, right? So 5 years from now, it's so hard to predict in a lot of ways because we don't know exactly how many more big institutions and companies are going to be jumping in to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. We clearly seem to be moving in a positive trajectory in that way right now. But what's interesting is 5 years is a really long time span. If you think about the fact that will have taken us through an entire another bear market, and I mean, depending how long the next bear market is, we 5 years from now should be in like the thralls of another bull run. And so 6 trillion, that's really only, I pulled up this tweet here to show you this kind of chart that this person put together that's really only a 6x, which I think almost sounds conservative. So I know it's like a splashy kind of news headline, but when you look at it, it doesn't seem completely out of question. Okay, and then just a quick shout out to B&B, number 3 spot. So here, I pulled up this tweet from February 19th, the day that it happened. But right before recording this, I just looked at CoinMarketCap and it still is in the number 3 spot. So anyway, congrats to CZ, to Binance, to the whole team. I know there's been a lot of development on the Binance Smart Chain, and so it's really interesting congrats to them, right? Like, it's really cool to see it doing so well. To be honest, BNB is not a token that I've really spent a lot of time looking into or even looking into their smart chain. But it's definitely something that's piquing my interest. And so if you guys are interested in having me make more content around BNB and everything that's happening within their ecosystem, let me know, because that's something I'm maybe thinking about doing. All right, Square bought the dip. Did you? That is the question. And what's funny is that we've dipped quite a bit more even than when this announcement came out earlier this week about Square purchasing $170 million of Bitcoin, which combined with their previous Bitcoin purchases now means that 5% of their cash reserves are now in Bitcoin, which is a really impressive percentage. A lot of companies would maybe consider adding like 1%. And so I think the more that we see these big companies actually adding a substantial percentage, like I believe Tesla did 10%. I mean, here I pulled up a Michael Saylor tweet. MicroStrategy's like, I don't know, they're probably like 97% or something wild. I think I saw it was like over 95. But anyway, I think this is really exciting. It's really bullish. It's getting harder and harder for people to kind of, just think of Bitcoin as nerd money. Like, I'm sorry, but Tesla, Square, these are legitimate big companies. And so it is pretty exciting to see this shift in perspective. So Elon Musk and Peter Schiff really got into it this week. So I am sure you all saw this, but Peter Schiff was basically knocking on Bitcoin like he does for fun, knocking on Elon Musk buying Bitcoin, all the fun things. And of course, Elon Musk was not going to have it. And so the king of memes gave the only response that was appropriate, basically just calling him a dick. So anyway, for those of you that saw the Crypto Minute that I posted, there was a real eggplant involved as a prop. I actually have to say the person at the grocery store, like at Whole Foods, probably thought I was crazy. I dug through the entire eggplant section to get the one that looked the most like the emoji. So check that out. But anyway, I actually thought it was a little bit funny how Peter Schiff really embraced it and even added it to his, or not his handle, but his name for a while as well. Oh, and what do you know? Documenting Bitcoin is making another appearance. But I thought this was just a really fun fact about Cash App. So they said Cash App users bought $4.57 billion of Bitcoin last year. And that's a pretty staggering amount, especially considering that I would think of Cash App as obviously like a way that retail investors are buying Bitcoin, right? Like these big institutions that are buying billions of dollars of Bitcoin are doing it in an OTC market. They are not going to Cash App. And so that really truly represents a more retail perspective. And that's only one app, but it is pretty interesting to think about too, like when we look at not only fees, but consumer experience, ease of use. Cash App really is a great option for a lot of people because they already have it on their phone. It's really easy. Like I was hanging out with some friends and they wanted to buy some Bitcoin, and I was kind of talking through various options of exchanges, and then I was like, wait, do you have Cash App? They're like, yeah. Open it up, bought Bitcoin. So again, it's a little bit more of an introductory kind of experience, I would say, especially since they've started limiting. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but there's limits on how much you can withdraw every day. And I actually talked about this on the stream that we did, I did with Crypto Finally and Bentuan earlier today. And it is really interesting because I think the limit was $2,000 a day or $7,000 a week. And so literally to take a whole Bitcoin off of Cash App would take you like a month. And so that's a really interesting thing to think about. And so again, I think it's a great introductory option for people to get started, but as they dive a little bit deeper into the world of crypto and start looking at other options, I imagine they'll find some of the more robust exchanges to maybe be a little more accommodating. But anyway, I still thought this was just a really bullish piece of news. All right, the Canadian Bitcoin ETF, which yes, of course, in the Crypto Minute, I pulled out my best Canadian accent, which I will not do for you here, but you have to go check that out to see it. But just, okay, I want to like clear the air. I'm not making fun of Canadians. I am a Canadian. I am actually like a dual citizen with Canada and the US. And so I promise you, it's all in good jest and in good fun. And yeah. And on that note, let's take a little water break. So apparently I'm British now. Oh my God, you guys. Anyway, I don't know if you guys have seen the Bitcoin bottle around the crypto-verse, but I love my bottle. This is definitely the fanciest water bottle I own. And I own like, you guys, I own like every brand of water bottle. Like, hit me, like throw it at me, throw a brand at me. I have one. I've got Yeti. I've got Clean Canteen. I've got like 7 Hydro Flasks. I am a water bottle nerd, but nothing like as pretty as this. This makes me feel like a fancy, like, I don't know, like Instagram, like cute girl or something. Anyway, enough about the bottle. Back to the Bitcoin ETFs. Here's just a couple of interesting little facts that came out of this Bitcoin Archive Twitter account, which is kind of like the Documenting BTC account. They also share just kind of random fun facts about Bitcoin. They said the Bitcoin ETF in Canada traded 100 million in volume in just 30 minutes. That is 6x the number 2 ETF on the market, which really does represent a big demand, which I thought was interesting. Another little fun fact they posted was that the Bitcoin ETF already has 421 million assets under management in just 2 days of trading. So anyway, I thought this news is really interesting. There really has been several groups that have been pushing for a Bitcoin ETF here in the US and have not been successful, have run up against a lot of regulatory issues. And so I'm hoping that seeing the success of the Canadian Bitcoin ETF will hopefully make US regulators just feel a little bit more comfortable with the idea of having this kind of asset. And so anyway, fingers crossed. I think this is really bullish for the Canadian crypto community and hopefully will mean good things for us here in the US as well. For those of us here in the US, I should say, I understand you are not all here in the US. Janet Yellen once again has not been a friend to Bitcoin. So I thought that this tweet from Robert Kiyosaki really kind of nailed it and was just a really great tweet. So basically, Janet Yellen came out saying that Bitcoin is extremely inefficient. And he's like, give me a break. Does she think printing trillions of fake dollars is efficient? Does she know the more fake dollars she prints, the more efficient and valuable Bitcoin becomes? God bless her. So anyway, I thought that tweet was great. But it has been really interesting just to see how often she is in the news for saying negative and somewhat uninformed things about Bitcoin, unfortunately. And then the really funny turn of events is that literally the next day or, within a short period of time, the Fed was down. And so anyway, we'll see which one is truly inefficient now. And then just a quick mention about GameStop being up 100% in a single day. It's been a minute since we've seen the whole Reddit investor movement, Wall Street Bets, having another kind of moment in the sun. So it's cool to see that kind of coming back up. So it'll be interesting to continue watching this story and watching the Wall Street Bets movement. And then laser eyes to 100K. So pretty much most people in the crypto world that you might think of have changed their eyes to have the laser eyes. So I just pulled mine up to show you guys. I kind of look like a somewhat demonic creature. I apologize for that. It's really just these bull horns. They just, I don't know, they're interesting. But maybe I'll have to change it to a somewhat, I don't know, less crazy looking photo. But if you aren't sure why everyone has been changing their eyes to laser eyes, it's basically a laser eyes to 100K kind of thing. And so that's it. That's really the story. Okay, have you guys seen Lily's show? If you have not, oh my gosh, you have got to check it out. I will link to it below. I will not be offended if you leave this video right now to go watch it because it's so good. Anyway, it was just the cutest video. So Lily, I hope that you continue to make videos. I think that this is great. I think what a fun thing to do with your parents. Obviously whoever, her parents are big, Bitcoin, crypto nerds. And so what a fun thing to just be able to make this video together. She basically explains Bitcoin in simple terms with her stuffed animals and Skittles. And it is the cutest thing, but also, truly one of the best Bitcoin explainer videos I've ever seen. She did a great job of really breaking it down. And it kind of, what I like about it too, is it kind of gives the impression well, if a 3-year-old understands it, you, sir, you can wrap your head around this, I'm quite sure. So anyway, I just love it. I hope she continues to make videos. And like I said, I'll link it below so you guys can check it out. All right. And Coinbase was trending, but not because it was down this time. So if you haven't seen the NASDAQ news, they are filing to go public directly on NASDAQ, which is really interesting because most tech companies go live on the New York Stock Exchange. And so this will actually be kind of a first, which will be really interesting to see how this all plays out. I know that I tend to make fun of Coinbase often on the channel because why not? They're an easy target. They gave us a lot of material, but this is actually really bullish and exciting news. And it's funny, even though I make fun of Coinbase, I use them. It is what it is. It's one of the main options that works in my state, aside from Gemini, which I am excited to get to use to have more options. And I just heard that Binance US just expanded to Washington, so I'll have to check that out. But anyway, very excited. This is very bullish for the crypto community. Coinbase has a lot of users. I think I saw that they have 43 million registered users. This is great exposure. So anyway, really excited about this news. An interesting tweet on this from Chamath is he said the Coinbase direct listing will either confirm direct listings as a reasonable on-ramp for companies or kill it all together by making retail the true bag holders. If institutional investors use this period to manipulate the stock market from a 54 billion valuation on January 20th to 100 billion now. So anyway, this is just a really great thread if you want to read through it. But this really is an interesting step for not just the crypto community, but for the market and the retail investor as well. Okay, guys, and that's kind of just a wrap on this news video walking through everything that I basically covered in the Crypto Minute, but in a little bit more detail. And it was kind of fun to like pull up some tweets and interesting commentary from each of the different news stories. And so hopefully you guys enjoyed that, found that interesting. You'll have to leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. But anyway, as always, it's a crazy week in crypto. I'll be back next week with both the Crypto Minute and probably another one of these. And I'm sure we will have plenty of things to talk about. So thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. It means the world to me. I hope you guys have a great day or night, wherever it is and wherever you are in the world. Keep stacking, and I will see you next week.